Back to the MLG World Final. We're in day 3 of action, the final day here, and we are into the meat and potatoes of our first series. It's Secret going against Monkey Business, and well, game number 1 seemed to be all Secret all day. They put together a solid draft. It seemed like Monkey Business had the response ready to go, but the laning phase certainly did not show it. So here we are, gentlemen, getting ready and hyped up for game number 2. What does Monkey Business need to do to change things up? Is that put you a bit on edge to see like, ooh, maybe Secret have kind of anticipated that kind of game we're bringing out? Do they look to change things up, or is it just kind of go to plan B?
I would say it puts them like really on edge. If you think about it, like, okay, they're planning last night. It's like, okay, if we pick Meepo, we'll do this, and then they move on to other openers and other strategies that Secret might have, and then your one that you think is like pretty safe just gets completely blown away by the overall draft, and you just got completely dominated, as well as it being a hero that you can actually utilize. So I'm not sure if they prepared Meepo strategies of their own, but they need to start thinking about it right now.
To give you an idea of how they were able to take Monkey Business out of their comfort zone, specifically Miracle, the Haas was telling us, why don't you just go ahead and fill us all in about this?
That was the second latest Battle Fury timing on an AM in this patch, and for a player like Miracle, that's really unusual. I mean, I think it boils down less to the Meepo than the fact that Monkey Business have been winning games in this tournament by drafting strong lanes. And they really got thrown off their game in the laning phase in that match. They didn't hit their item timings, just looked uncomfortable throughout.
Looks like we're going to go ahead and hop right into the draft here for game number 2. Let's look at the early emphasis here. Obviously, the Wisp are going to be banned out here from Team Secret. Monkey Business will rid of the Doom here. Now, we got to think of the next steps here, gentlemen.
Doom's actually not great versus Meepo. I think that Meepo is really, really good versus that hero. Maybe not as good because they changed his damage to pure, but it's still pretty good. We might see that open up some more Meepo picks if you want to like let Doom through and pick up Meepo. But Brood isn't going to be as high of a priority because both teams can pick Meepo versus it.
A ban on the Alchemist here from Secret, and of course there's got to be some sort of emphasis on being able to snag up or ban out the Ember Spirit.
So what does a Monkey Business do now? Do they switch up their playstyle and try and focus more on mid to late, or do they just go in the game, okay, we're just going to do what works and try and concentrate on early lanes? I think that Secret's really good at taking them out of that element, though.
I agree with you, but it's got to be lanes. I mean, when you looked at these games, I'm a little bit on a different page from you, Ben, about the way Monkey Business is thinking, because if you think back to their first game on day 1 against EG, they came out, they had a bad laning phase, they kind of got blown off the map. Very similar here. Remember they had the day off yesterday to kind of think about it. They're a little bit cold. I still think they can come back strong in this game, but I'd like to see some more early aggression from those cores. I think that kill that No Tail had on Meepo mid around 18 minutes before the 20-minute mark was actually the first kill that they had on any of their cores. Okay, their first 5 kills were all on the 2 supports. So I'd like to see Monkey Business draft strong lanes and have aggressive cores that can fight early.
It's still hard versus a Night Stalker, though. Ember Spirit is not that great of a pick if you don't have Night Stalker on your team, and especially if it's on the opposite team. So, but at the same time, do they want to give them Night Stalker or Ember Spirit, the same opener that they had last game?
Yeah. And I actually really like this. This is traditionally Monkey Business actually run Miracle on the SF. He's 5-2 with this roster on the Shadow Fiend. They can run him either mid or safe lane on the Radiant side. It's probably going to be a mid lane Shadow Fiend, which will push No Tail down into that safe lane role. Look for possibly a Juggernaut pickup. They've shown that they like to run him on that farming Jug.
I like to see them pick up a Veno fairly early, actually.
Early snag up on the Lich here. Quickly becoming the support to go to for that early lane dominance. That change to his sacrifice, of course, now no longer have to worry about where you do it and your enemy being able to leech up that XP. He's just able to get away with taking away that creep, and you could see it, especially when they're able to throw him in that dual mid lane. It could just do real damage.
Yeah, again, lanes. Fly is 7-0 as Lich with this Monkey Business roster. This gives them a very nice way to take pressure off the mid lane if Team Secret try to go aggressive. And boy, I tell you, I don't necessarily like the first phase Ember ban, but Team Secret have just looked so good with this Night Stalker Ember Spirit matchup.
I think you actually ban out Night Stalker.
I agree.
Ember. If you have first pick, you don't need to, but if you have second pick, that's a little bit better.
Well, it's too late for that, Ben. And now you already see the Ember Night Stalker. How the hell are you going to deal with it?
Well, Lich is one way. You can guarantee a good lane for the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah.
Especially since Quappa's been a little underpicked, I would say, this tournament. But at the same time, now Secret can kind of, because Lich isn't really going to be moving around that much. He sits in lanes, he sacrifices creeps, he gets XP, and he makes one of your lanes feel very safe. But one way to blow that apart is with an Enchantress or even a Chen. But no one really plays Chen anymore. So I think that's a hero that I think would work really well in tandem with the Night Stalker and just constantly gank the Shadow Fiend. But you still need an aggressive mid for that.
I am surprised that people don't play those jungle heroes anymore. Now that we're seeing no more Bounty Hunter kind of into play.
Secret has really done their homework with these bans. The Jakiro has become a signature hero for Crit, 10-1, and that Juggernaut that I mentioned. I think the Slardar is a really excellent comeback hero, though. They can put this on Moon and run it in the off lane. They can also run No Tail on a safe lane farming Slardar, so still a lot of flexibility.
Slardar is really good versus Night Stalker, too. With the amp, you get his night vision if you amp him, and Night Stalker is generally the one that's actually up in front in the fight. So you don't even really need his minus armor, although it is really good versus those two heroes. I think just the vision from the amp would be good enough to justify.
Does that work with Axe too?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
You get the vision that the hero gets. So
That's interesting. I know they took that away from the Bounty Hunter, but I didn't know that they left that or not on the Slardar.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, to be honest. If that's right, that's a pretty serious counter. So Team Secret in the phase where they're usually picking up their supports now, and again, I look at the Bane here, it has just been such a stable pick for them. There you go. I think Puppey is just so comfortable. Either Puppey or Pile I Die, again, along with Mad, some of the top Bane players in the world.
So is this just Secret saying we have a good formula, we're just going to keep doing it until Monkey Business seem to be able to crack the code?
They generally do that.
Yeah.
Right. Slaughter should have night vision. Look at the hero model, dude. He has that little light in front of him.
I know, right? He has that light so everyone can see his
lord.
ugly. Look at my ugly face, everyone.
Yeah. How do you vote for a Zeus reskin when you have that in the game? But anyway.
Zeus on roids, it's coming.
Oh my God.
Fourth pick to come out here. You already have a pretty, selfless support in the Lich. Do you also consider something like a disruptor just to help contain the Ember Spirit a bit and get that silence? They have potential glimpse set up with the Shadow Fiend, with the Slardar.
You generally like follow up with a Slaughter, like one more hero with a somewhat AoE stun.
Okay.
That can get a Blink Dagger, but I'm not sure if we'll see it this game. Slaughter also needs protection.
I like it. Okay, oh my gosh. So this is one of the heroes that if you can ever get this hero in the second phase, I think Tusk right now is one of the best second phase picks in all of Dota. People, despite being a first pick in the last game, people still tend to forget about banning out this hero. I really did like the Jakiro and the Juggernaut, but that's clear value there for Monkey Business.
Too late to creep in a Brood here if you're Secret?
Nope, not too late.
Not too late at all.
One of those heroes you forget about.
It does slide the Night Stalker over into the 4 position, which they may feel a little bit less comfortable with. They predominantly run Misery on that hero, but I think you could see that.
And then there's not that many safe lane heroes that can actually deal with it. Like, I don't think any of these heroes can, aside from Shadow Fiend, but Shadow Fiend will be mid.
Yep. We'll have to see if that is something they do consider. But if they're trying to go down the same path they did previously, what was their fourth pick in the last game? They got the Meepo for the 5th grab there, but...
I think it was Bane.
Yeah, Bane.
AA and Bane were their second phase
The Puppey
picks.
hero is still out there.
Yeah, and I think that's just an excellent drafting template in terms of getting that very, very strong Night Stalker Ember Spirit open and then using your counter picks on supports in the second phase.
Spear Breaker's also been ignored.
And there's the Brood.
There's that Brood.
I think that's a good play. You don't necessarily want to pick the Axe. I think in a vacuum without the Brood pick that you very well may have seen the Nature's Prophet 5th from Monkey Business, but now I don't think you can go that route at all.
What can they get now, though, to help against this Brood?
Meepo's pretty good, but it's not good versus Ember.
Right.
Sand King is decent.
Axe is still in the pool, but again, it
Axe
gives
is
you
core Axe.
mediocre.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would say, though.
LC is still there.
LC's okay too, but I've seen good Brood mothers just own good LCs, so that's also subpar.
What about that Miracle Core Earthshaker?
Earthshaker will get run over.
Yeah, I think Earthshaker is one of the worst here. I think, they have run Moon Meander on the Legion Commander. It's only 1 and 2. I like that in theory as a counter here, but yeah, like Ben said, I have seen laning matchups go the way of the Brood.
Meepo going to be banned out here from Monkey Business. The quick response, Secret, rid of the bristleback. That's actually that's a really good ban.
You can also go like some Vanguard heroes, like Centaur, Bristle. These
You're
are
promoting a Vanguard.
versus Broodmother when you have no better solutions.
You've been talking to Suns fan?
Vanguard
No,
hero.
I like Centaur,
So
actually.
Accent King Legion, Centaur is kind of low. I've seen like
Undying is kind of, can be a Vanguard.
I would
hero,
not do
but-
Undying.
you can also do Brewmaster. I think I've seen
Oh,
someone
man.
counter Brood.
Brood
I've
be
been waiting to
interesting.
see Brood. He got some nice buffs, but
And we saw that. I mean, we saw that absolutely all-world game from Rabbit in New York on that hero. I would love to see that here.
I can't think of that many more.
I just don't think there are we tend to talk about one hero versus one hero counters when in reality it is often
Oh, you can
the
also go
lineup.
Queen. Safe Lane Queen. is
Yeah,
decent.
yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot
You know
about
what?
that.
In fact, I think that's probably my pick here.
Queen versus Night Stalker, though, it's
I
a
mean,
little sketchy.
You have to have like a solid
Yeah.
hero that's versus Brood that can also help team fight.
The only
And
problem
that's
with the
good
Safe
damage.
Lane Queen is that Miracle has been both their Queen and their SF player. But No Tail, again, very, very veteran player, very flexible. You know, recently got his 600th career win, only the 7th player to do that. You know, he does have a very diverse hero pool.
Dark Zero would have been good, but that is banned out.
Nope. Banned it themselves.
What about just like an a la carte Tiny or something?
And we'll get wrecked in lane.
Yeah.
I'm spitballing here, gentlemen. I'm sure Monkey Business are as well between each other. What do we do now?
I mean, they burned through. They had over a
Yeah.
minute of reserve time, and they're just going to go back to the Beastmaster. And again, I mean, this is a little bit of a, okay, guys, we're going to go with what we feel comfortable with, and we're going to try and own these lanes.
No
But
one
it's
can
gonna be
deal
hard.
with the Brood, though.
Yep. Yep.
Slaughter later, but I think the early, like, first 6 minutes is going to be really tough. And then, like, you might get run over at first nighttime with a rotation for the Night Stalker. So without them having, like, a really solid Brood counter, I already favor Secret's draft.
What about Ben shifting the SF and the Lich to the bottom so the Lich keeps the waves by the tower? The SF does have those raises.
It's still weak. You
Yeah,
can just
I
creep
agree.
skip with Brood.
I'm
especially versus
reaching
Shut
here.
Yeah, if Brood were that easily countered, then she wouldn't be such
Yeah.
a top priority pick.
No, again, spitballs.
It requires like at least one dedicated Brood counter and likely 2 other heroes with AoE.
For Secret, though, they have the luxury of saving out this final pickup here, something they probably already know, but looking for possibly the Puppy / Pili Die hero here.
Mid hero, right? I mean, it could
Is
be
it mid?
NS, but
The Wind Ranger is gone.
what else does he play?
Alchemist is gone.
I mean, Queen's okay here too.
Oh,
But
yeah, that's...
Okay.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
mid.
because I was
This is
like,
gonna be
dude,
the
Puppy
Midnight-
Pilot,
the
I don't
Midnight
imagine
Stalker
playing
again.
NS, yeah. The Midnight Stalker coming out from Weehaw.
Wow.
All right.
This draft by Team Secret is just so scary. I mean, I think Monkey Business has the tools that they need if they can get through the laning phase against this Brood, but that's the
mid-AA?
question.
Weehaw's on AA right now,
Whoa!
gentlemen. Is this one hell of a throwback? He's got a smile on his face. I don't know if it's because that they're playing the
Harkening
flip
back
the
to
script.
Dendy.
Dendy days, a mid lane AA. Come on. Really?
Why not? Why not? You got a young player, super confident. You know you won the draft. Let's go for it, guys.
Ah, they switched it up.
Trolled.
That would have been wonderful. Well, nonetheless, should be an exciting game. Let's go ahead and throw it over to our casters right now. Capitalist and Blitz. Gentlemen, please have some fun.
Well, it would have been much more fun if we had a mid-ancient apparition on our hands, but unfortunately, Blitz, we're just going to have a regular old mid-Night Stalker. Still a fun hero to watch, though.
I mean, Ben had that right reaction there. He's like, no, this is
No.
There's no way.
Just shut it down.
Yeah,
Just shut it all
Just shut
down.
it down, Ben.
All right, so what do you think? I mean, our analysts felt pretty pessimistic about Monkey Business's chance of dealing with this Broodmother. Do you feel the same way, that this Broodmother just is one of those heroes that's going to control, from the drafting perspective, just kind of control the game, and Team Secret will just have multiple openings to move forward?
I think the Slardar Ken is going to do pretty well this game. He's got a lot of really good targets because there's not a whole lot of armor on the side of Team Secret. You're probably going to see a Vlad's pretty early by the Night Stalker to sort of counter this out, but Ember Spirit, notoriously low armor. The Brood kind of gets countered by the ability to.
Yeah,
the laning phase is going to determine most of it, and how well Weehaw does against Miracle mid SF. He's probably one of the better ones out there.
So as we get into this game, our laning, what are we going to be seeing here? We actually have the Ember Spirit and Ancient Aberration in the bottom lane up against the Slardar. No Tail will be playing the off lane Beastmaster. And the two supports, I'm sure, are going to be rotating around a little bit. Fly's going to be spending his time in middle lane to start with, while Crit heads down to the bottom lane.
Yeah, they're going to run the same setup where they give Misery the 1v1 matchup. And this time around, he's a Brood, which is an even better position to be in.
Yeah,
they know they're not going to be punished in this off lane.
I think I've actually seen, I'm not sure if it was No Tail specifically that had this matchup against a Broodmother as a Beastmaster. And it went okay, obviously, in like the first 4 minutes. It wasn't too bad when you had counter wards with you, but okay, Fly's going to actually rotate over now and is bringing in the counter wards with him. This is not a bad idea and just kind of limiting the Broodmother's farm, but as you said, he should still be able to get so much, especially by like level 5.
Yeah, this mid-Night Stalker, it's meant to just put on all-out, flat-out aggression. They've got enough cores on their team already. They have the Ember Spirit, and if you look at Monkey Business's lineup, you've got a Slardar, I guess, and which is okay, but the main hero here is the Shadow Fiend. So Team Secret, they don't want to make the same mistake that Monkey Business did. They want a space creating mid, something that can go around, punish as much as they can.
It seems like we could potentially be having Team Secret win 2 out of 3 of their lanes, or maybe even 3 out of 3, depending on how that mid lane goes, and if the Night Stalker is able actually to get a kill once we go into nighttime. But it only seems like Miracle is going to be doing well in CS as time goes on. I can't imagine No Tail, like he's doing well right now. He's actually 8-6, a lot of denies, really well done by him in combination with the Lich, but I can't imagine that's going to continue to stay such a dominant lane for him as time moves forward. And we're seeing this bottom lane where Moon is just being shut out by the supports entirely.
I think the play right now is, yeah, you're going to hit 6 or nighttime on the Night Stalker, but as long as you have one of the supports rotate in for you, it's really hard for Weehaw to commit to a dive or anything. And Shadow Fiend is one of the better heroes against these melee lineups where he can't really get in close because of the opportunity for triple raises. And the solo kill potential is there for Miracle if Weehaw messes up. So he's got to be really careful.
So who do you pull from the support side on Monkey Business into that middle lane once we get into nighttime?
Probably Crit. Crit moves over. He's got some counterplay potential. Again, this is one of the benefits of when you're Shadow Fiend against a melee hero, is just you have the opportunity to go for pretty much any of the raises that you want to use.
Yeah.
And it's hard for the Night Stalker to get in close because the way that Miracle should play this is once in a while he raises, keeps Weehaw kind of low in HP. So if Weehaw decides to commit to a gank, if anybody comes in, it's a death for him. And you're seeing Miracle, he's just going to abuse this. He's going to sit on the high ground because he knows that if Weehaw wants to use an ability, he still has to walk through raises. This is the correct way to play this matchup.
I kind of feel like Crit needed to pick up his level 2 somewhere before he tried to rotate up to the top lane. Tusk is actually a pretty good ganking hero against Broodmother. You just, once she shows up to throw out some Spiderlings or maybe even right click, you just snowball and are able to get the dust and ice shards, and it's a pretty easy gank, I feel, most of the time. But right now, he rotated up to the top lane pre-level 2, is now trying to leech experience without showing himself, which seems to be a rather inefficient way to use this roaming hero, seeing as he's really the one thing for Monkey Business that I felt like they could actually win some lanes with, was with this roaming hero, as Team Secret obviously don't have the same kind of roaming potential.
All right, so Weehaw is boots behind when it comes to this mid matchup. He only has 10 CS. Miracle's already up to 25. This is something that you expect, though. A lot of people are going to say Weehaw got crushed in this matchup, but it's part of the matchup. Is the Shadow Fiend, if left uncontested, will almost always win his one-on-one matchups. The difference, though, is that the Night Stalker can get aggressive a little bit early, which is what you're seeing right now. They know that there's no vision down here because it's a Slardar, and you absolutely need this kill for Weehaw. This is one that you can't afford to get away from you. And
Moon pumps forward at just the right time. Still, though, he got off the sprint, and that'll allow him to stay ahead of the Ember Spirit, or maybe not. He's actually slowed down so significantly that he was almost able to get there. Looks like they're still going to go for the time, and Moon is going to be able to escape, it looks like. Staying ahead of Weehaw, has the stun still ready to go, and Weehaw not going to be able to make the commitment for that kill. So, nice dodge there. The power of the sprint showcasing itself.
You've just committed your Night Stalker to this first gank just to kill the 3-position Slardar, and they weren't even successful. This is pretty significant because if you notice during this time, the Night Stalker actually has only gone 1 CS and a failed gank, so no XP, whereas the Shadow Fiend has just gone, he's about to pick up 8, and he can even go to the jungle if he wants. This is not a small thing right now.
Yeah, they're trying to take the tier 1 tower, essentially just providing this overwhelming force by 5 minutes in order to take it. It looks like they will be successful. Monkey Business aren't going to rotate around and stop it. So there's that, I guess, at the very least, to give Weehaw a small bit of gold and more control for Team Secret, but obviously they still have Miracle to contend with. And they're going to have to address him hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you can't just leave him alone in this mid lane because what he's going to do is just grab a Ring of Aquila and push out by double raising every single time. And this game around, Monkey Business, they've definitely gotten a pretty decent laning start. Like their Beastmaster's doing fine at top. He's got inflated CS because of the Broodlings.
Yeah.
But this is where Misery should be strong right now, when the supports have to rotate around to kind of help out Moon a little bit more.
How's that top lane going? Broodmother 19-5, so No-Tail's actually still doing very well for himself. 34-11 only on him.
Yeah, you got to look at the net worth though.
Yeah, obviously a lot of those CS is going to be Spiderlings, right?
Yeah, he should be
He
doing
was
fine
actually
right now.
behind. Wow, I'm a little bit surprised by that. I just figured with the early denies that he was getting in the first like 2 minutes.
He gets helped by the tower too.
Okay.
All right, so Weehaw's going to rotate back into this mid lane, but you've got a minute and a half left of your night. You're still only level 5. You're a full 2 levels behind the enemy mid. And you notice he's about to pick up the Ring of Aquila. He can just toggle it on when Weehaw decides to go for another gank. And as long as they play this defensive style, the Shadow Fiend's going to get massive.
Yeah. No-Tail dropped a little bit low. This is about the time where the Broodmother is just going to overwhelm you with Spiderlings if you're not careful. So he's actually going to play black. He does have his level 6, so once he goes back to base, he can actually rotate to one of these other lanes and maybe set up a kill for his team. And instead, give Crit the opportunity to pick up perhaps his level 6.
You saw the Bane rotate for half a second mid to see if he could set up something, but it's so hard to dive when your creep wave just gets double raise, double raise. You just have to run away, and he's going to do it again. He's getting quite aggressive in this mid lane. Weehaw doesn't have any, he's got a regen rune, but even that's kind of inconsequential when you're still 2 full levels behind.
Yeah, all it means he's just going to try and void for CS at this point. He's actually going to go for a bit of a push out, but he knows the silence just isn't going to last long enough, and the physical damage of the Shadow Fiend is actually enough to challenge Weehaw quite easily, even if he is silenced up. Bottom lane looks like Moon is actually trying to go on a puppy here. He does have another stun coming up, but Misery has made a rotation. That's a rather interesting one.
They did this in the last game too, and with the tier 1 tower down, I think it's okay. You're
Yeah.
going to lose a lot of your web network, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, he'll build it back up over time, and there's this is the kind of the bad thing about running Broodmother in a safe lane is you don't get the same kind of jungle efficiency oftentimes. When you run into the off lane, you have easier access, especially when you're Dire side. You got these 3 different camps of the Radiant side for you to be able to farm up. So I think this does make a lot of sense. This will, yes, like Misery was able to do okay in his lane, but he needs to really start ramping up his farm, and putting him in this lane, especially with the tier 1 tower down, is going to be what allows that to happen.
This Shadow Fiend, though, is huge. He's got an Invis rune. He's going to check for stacks, see if he can catch any of the solo supports. He's making his way mid right now. Puppy's in a pretty precarious situation right now. If he decides to back up at all, this should be a free kill for Miracle, but with the creep wave the way it is, I doubt Puppy is gankable right now.
He did see the Night Stalker rotating into the secret shop, so he may feel confident cutting through these trees and trying to go for a pickoff. Meanwhile, in top lane, the smoke is actually going to pop Moon. Bad time to throw down that
I think
ward.
Puppy's dead. He's walking down right now, but Miracle has a TP, and
Yeah, he's going to place this like aggressive ward back up and probably run into the SF.
yeah, I think the Tusk actually creates a sandwich for him, because Puppy doesn't have the TP available, but it actually looks like he's going to go the right way and not run into Miracle, and that's a lot of time wasted on that Shadow Fiend.
Oh, Roar in the top lane. They're going to try and lock down the Ember Spirit. Chain stunning him as much as possible, as Remnant isn't going to get him that far away. Oh, okay, he actually does jump farther up. He's still going to stick around for this fight because he knows Monkey Business has run out of ammo, and he's going to be able to stick around for the experience and might even ensure another kill. But now the turnaround. Uh-oh, Eternal Envy, did you just get way too aggressive? Yes, you did. He's going to be hit by the stun by Moon, and now that trade-off never really worth it unless he can get more. Weehaw, well, he's going to be able to pick up the Lich. The Ice Blast comes through, and Moon's going to die as well. So a triple kill for Weehaw off of Eternal Envy just playing perhaps a bit too aggressive. Worth it in the end for Team Secret.
I was okay with the first Fire Remnant, but the second one was pushing his luck a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
A Fly was just like, okay, this is a great opportunity. We're just gonna get a ton of XP off of this. And
still though, I mean, the turnaround there from Monkey Business did expose 2 of their heroes that ended up dying. So Eternal Envy, he kind of sacrifices himself for the opportunity of Team Secret. Weehaw now makes a huge recovery from what was obviously very rocky mid lane.
Yeah, he might actually just die here, though. He doesn't have nighttime. Miracle's got a haste rune. As long as he checks the right way, Weehaw's still staying. You gotta get out of here, Weehaw.
Miracle, all right, ring around the rosy. Let's see if you can do it, Weehaw. He actually gets a chains. Miracle ultimate goes off. No, he actually holds on to it. Now he gets silenced up. He's not gonna be able to do anything. He hastes himself away, though.
Oh, he's in grip.
Oh, the feet's grip! Miracle! Why did you go back? He gets caught by Pylai Die when he just could have run to the safety of his team.
It was like the Benny Hill theme song. I don't even know what just happened there. Somehow they walk away with a kill on a hasted SF, which should have been just a free kill for him onto Weehaw.
Yeah.
Now Weehaw's game is completely set. Like, we were talking about how far behind he was getting, and he was, but with the triple kill, the setup on that as well, that was really clowny.
RSF still top of the net worth, but only just barely, considering his very favorable lane and the amount of farm that he was getting, and the fact that he's just an SF. Pilot Eye is going to be picked off. They will get a really good Ice Blast over the top, but there's no one here to take advantage of that.
All right, so Eternal Envy, he's got a decent amount of farm right now. He's just going to walk up. He's still got that Flame Guard available, and he's just going to bounce back in case Moon's got the angle on him. But without nighttime, it looks like they're sort of reluctant to fight. And I like this decision by Weehaw to pick up the Midas too. This will allow him to continue to get aggressive and still keep up in GPM relative to the Shadow Fiend.
Oh, man. Team Secret, I can kind of look at that hand of Midas, especially since he was already looking at it before, and Miracle is going to be gone on here. He's going to be forced to perhaps use the ultimate, actually kind of fakes it out.
Yeah, Misery's just messing with him right now. But you want the Shadow Fiend in this lane right now, because if Misery all-in commits, then Miracle can just pop the ultimate and throw him back. You've got 2 Midases on the side of Team Secret right now, and they're not being punished.
That's what I was trying to get into. The fact that they went on Midas on the Night Stalker as well as on Misery's Broodmother. So late game seems very much secured for Team Secret now.
They're doing amazing. Monkey Business is pretty far behind. You've got a Beastmaster that has 4K net worth, but you wanted to see him a little bit higher. And probably the most concerning fact right now is that your Slardar only has 200 more net worth than the Ancient Apparition does. And your supports are even quite poor. Lich is meant to be pretty poor in general, but you don't want your Tusk and your Lich to be in this situation, whereas Puppey is getting further and further ahead. He even has a Medallion, so Roche is a possibility for their team. And probably more importantly than that too is that if he isn't the one that gets amped, he can use the Medallion of Courage to kind of counteract the Slardar's amplified damage.
No-Tail still trying to finish up the Necronomicon. They are not pushing down this tier 1 tower, I feel like, fast enough. Once again, Monkey Business are in this scenario where they kind of need to be the aggressors, but they're not finding the fights they want. And then if you can find those fights that you want, you kind of have to go for objectives at that point. But you're going to see Team Secret, they're very rapidly going to take control of this tier 1 middle tower and maybe even get Miracle in the process. They have an Ice Blast over the top. Snowball will be able to save him. Fly gets off the ultimate and does bounce once or twice. Looks like they're going to be able to get Pylai Die here as the Rays will finish him off. The rest of Monkey Business is going to be chased down. Misery. Position. Yeah, the amplified damage should ensure. No, he gets over the cliff. He's good. There was no damage to stop that one, and he gets away just in time.
Lich for Bane, but meanwhile, they've got that bottom tier 2 tower down, and all the while, Eternal Envy is just farming. And Team Secret have done such a good job about playing around the EE. They make sure that no matter what happens, if Monkey Business want to get into these fights, he's just going to take this time to farm. And I really like this decision. Like, don't join the fights. Make sure that you're securing your farm. And if all goes wrong, secure the late game for your team.
Four-man smoke up, Monkey Business on their way. They're going to run into Eternal Envy, which is exactly what they want. They're going to see him be able to get the roar over the trees, and Eternal Envy is done for. Excellent gank, exact use of the Beastmaster.
But at
you
bottom,
can really see the advantages that he brings. But yeah, Slardar dies in the meantime.
That's huge right now. You just lost 1 for 1, and your Slardar is just so far behind the rest of the field. And your Shadow Fiend, this is a hero that's meant to be quite far ahead, and at top, they're going to set up for this.
Yeah, they're actually going to try and fight this one out with Miracle.
You need more
beating
heroes.
down Pylai Die. He's going to be able to get the kill, but are they actually going to be able to stick around? The Night Stalker's still here. The T1 tower does fall, and no TPs, but they have stalled up long enough for Misery to get some damage out on this tier 3 tower. The Snowball comes through, but obviously Misery is so much faster than that.
I think they expected the Ancient Apparition to be there. It had to have been a miscommunication because Puppey was still 5 seconds away from having that ultimate.
Yeah.
And maybe if he has that, then you negate the Shadow Fiend's mech, and you can actually just kill him.
Yeah, for sure. Still, though, they only lost Pylai Die, and that seems to be kind of the team secret MO lots of times. They can afford to lose their support.
You lose Pylai Die, but you gain more on the map.
And Necronomicon about to be finished up. Boots of Travel on Eternal Envy. What other items do we have going on?
It's going to be the Radiance Broodmother again.
It could be. I mean, the last time I saw Misery playing the Broodmother, he had like 6,300 gold or something, and chose to go for the BKB instead.
6,300 gold. He just stacked it up.
Yeah, he just like stacks on stacks. It was that one really absurd game where Team Secret, was it? I think it was versus MVP or something.
I mean, he's got a lot of money to work with. He doesn't necessarily just have to buy out. All he really needs is that Soul Ring and that Midas, and this is going to put so much pressure on them right now because what do you really do in this position? You're going to lose that bottom area, and Miracle's going to get caught out. The mech's not going to do anything.
Nope, and he's just going to die. The Snowball does buy him some time, and he may be able to survive through the ticks, but he's going to be positioned in a terrible area. Gets off the mech and will be just still chased down by Team Secret. Now the question is, well, Pylai Die actually gets hit by that Death Requiem of Souls, and then now they're going to be able to take out Eternal Envy as well with the Chain Frost bouncing back over to Weehaw. They control him up and will be able to finish him off with a Snowball double kill for crit. What a big play. That Snowball actually served as the serving mechanism to be able to allow them to win a fight. Even if they do lose the SF, they get 3 heroes in exchange.
The biggest thing there was they were really close and grouped up when the SF did the death animation Requiem of Souls. So the Bane almost just instantly got popped. Like he actually had like 150 health and he didn't expect that. And then you lost the Flame Guard onto Eternal Envy. Weehaw at that point, it was 1v3 and that was pretty catastrophic, but you've still got Misery farming. He's got 3,100 gold banked up. Let's see what he has. He's got the Radiance recipe, so that is what he's going to go for this time around. And this will kind of turn him into an off carry, and it'll allow him to really do a lot in these team fights just by staying alive.
Yeah, just the 17% miss chance is actually huge when it's applying it to 5 different heroes. Moon will finally get his mobility item. That is kind of okay, maybe not. They're going to go for a smoke gank first. He was 50 gold away from finishing up that Force Staff.
He needs it too when you're playing against the Ember Spirit, but
yeah,
you've got to get a high priority kill, and Eternal Envy.
Weehaw is not a bad one. They blink forward on crit with a Walrus Punch, and the Amplify damage allows that to do enough damage that a quick and easy kill on the Night Stalker sets things up for Monkey Business.
They go for the Rosh.
Yeah, I was about to say, take an objective of some kind. I thought maybe a tier 2 tower, but Roshan is instead a much better target when you have an SF, Necronomicons, as well as, most importantly, Amplify damage from Slardar.
You're going to fire the Ice Blast into here, and it looks like Team Secret still wants to fight this. 20 seconds, you've got Weehaw. The nighttime isn't quite there yet, but he does have his ultimate available. And
oh, he's jumping in for it, he's trying to steal it, but no, he's going to be immediately controlled up. Eternal Envy. You gotta be a little bit careful there, buddy. I mean, Monkey Business saw the remnant there. They knew what was going to happen.
I think even if he grabs that, he just dies twice.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know if that was necessary, just because they're not even in that bad of a position whatsoever.
Team Secret are still ahead when it comes to net worth and experience.
They're still ahead. They've got a Solar Crest on to Puppey. You've got an absolutely huge Spider right now. She's got 9,600 net worth. That's more than an SF who pretty much was uncontested during the laning phase.
Yeah.
This is just, I think that the idea behind it was okay, but you've got 4 heroes spam clicking the ground, and you're not quite sure when the Roshan dies.
He's halfway through his Aghanim Scepter right now, and he's in a decent position to come in from behind until that ward got placed up by our Lich. That'll make things a bit harder for him. They also have a nice aggressive ward farther up in the jungle as well that scouts out the Night Stalker. Looks like they want to try and gank him up, especially during this darkness. If they could take away that hero, it'd actually be a huge advantage for them to push another objective.
The problem right now for Team Secret is that their lineup isn't meant to be behind. You've got a bunch of heroes that really heavily rely on chasing, but actually getting out isn't very easy. Even at nighttime, the Night Stalker can get controlled up pretty hard by the boars, the roar, anything that the Tusk throws at him. So they've got to be pretty careful throughout this entire area, just because the turnaround potential is so high from Team Monkey Business. So if you're Team Secret, if you take a fight at this point, it has to be a guaranteed win. But you don't have as many fighting heroes, nor do you have the control factor. You've got one stun.
You know, normally in a situation like that, I would look at the Ember Spirit and be like, oh, he's fine. But seeing as Eternal Envy's already given a couple of deaths to Monkey Business, it's a big concern.
Yeah, he's 1-4-3. He hasn't had the best game. But luckily for him, Misery is playing that Broodmother. I like that they're doing this now. They're giving Misery the heroes that he really wants to play. I know Clock is really relevant to the meta, but it never really felt like a hero that Misery was comfortable with.
Yeah, they'll catch Eternal Envy. Looks like No Tail finally got him. Lead in with the...
I don't even think he has a blink. It's just crit.
Yeah, it's just crit. He just blinks in, Walrus punches. That gives enough time for them to get the Primal Roar. Now they get the ultimate out on No Tail. Fiend's Grip and Misery dishing out so much damage they'll be able to get one.
Is this a fight you want to take?
Jesus, this is nasty as they manage to get to sleep on a moon. Do they set up for another kill? Doesn't look like it. They're just going to get damage onto this tier 3 tower. They got 2 kills, forced rotations back, and now they're going to mass TP away.
11-9 is the score, but that was definitely a move that Monkey Business should not have taken. Once you lost No Tail, just get out.
Skitter, skitter, skitter. He's going to run into crit. Snowball comes out. Throws out another web, but Miracle is there. And with the Radiance build, this is the one big downside. You're really susceptible to ganks.
I think he was going to be once he gets amplified, like, no matter what item he got. I guess
what
he
if
could
he
get a
went for
Manta
a
or
BKB?
BKB. Yeah. A BKB is definitely the second item you get.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
no way he doesn't.
Is Fly going to die here?
I hope not. He just bought back. His
Yeah.
item progression just died.
The funny thing is he might have actually kind of saved himself because he ice armored himself, but then he also frost blasted the siege creep, which killed a whole bunch of spiderlings that were around him.
Alright, so Puppy just casually farming. I don't even know how people have fun playing Ancient Apparition in pro games. You just play so cautiously, and you're an ulti machine. Just make sure you don't die.
Yeah. The thing is with this Ancient Apparition build, it's kind of weird and interesting at the same time, is that he actually has to be close to fights because he has to be there for the Solar Crest.
Yeah.
So he's got to be decently close.
I think when it comes to the 5-man pushes, this build is going to be effective at the top.
This could be a great setup for the Bane, but never mind. Necronomicon comes out, Bane immediately gets targeted down. If only he could have maybe gotten the sleep and Fiend's Grip on these 2 heroes, that double control could have offered an opportunity. But as it is, the opportunity swings in Monkey Business's favor instead.
They've got a Gem and a Necro 3, so Misery's going to have a really rough life. He picks up the Boots of Travel, which I think is the right idea because you want to be able to finally really help out your team in case these 5-man engagements go poorly. This is a hero that you want. Unfortunately for him, though, he's still really not very tanky. Like, none of their team really is. You've got a 1600 HP Night Stalker, but that's a hero that if you get amplified, you're going to go down regardless. I'd really like to start seeing the BKBs filter in for Team Secret.
Yeah, they desperately need them at this point, but this is really the point where Monkey Business can actually control the game with enough vigor that they can actually prevent these BKBs from coming in and they could just take down objective after objective.
Yeah, despite the 2 Midases, they're actually ahead in net worth. And Team Secret, you really don't want that because you've got a lot of different heroes that rely on not being able to be in the fights early, like Misery, like the Ember Spirit. So they're going to get this top tower, but they're probably going to lose their bottom tier 3.
Yeah. That'll go down to Creeps. Misery's not actually showing himself because he doesn't want to get hit by the Amplify damage. And then
Careful,
run
No
down
Tail.
Miracle. Yeah, Miracle's done. He gets Fiend's Grifted up. So, I'm not sure how they actually left that scenario where the Shadow Fiend was going to get caught. maybe just tasty TPs back due to their tier 3 falling in that bottom lane. Maybe just made some sort of mispositioning error.
I think that is what happened. You get a little bit uncoordinated when you see a Brood just pushing down a lane for free.
Yeah.
And typically in these scenarios, you want to be able to go together as a group. Like if you move as 5, there's no way that Team Secret engaged that. But as soon as they saw 2 TPs at bottom and not all 5,
right,
you're thinking to yourself, okay, they've left some stragglers behind. Let's just get really aggressive. Because no matter what, we'll have the numbers game. If need be, if it's like 3 heroes are left behind, the Misery can TP in, and you take a 5v3. In a game, in pro games most of the time, it's just a numbers game. If you have any sort of numbers advantage, you'll take it.
Time to give the gem over to the Slardar because you're going to watch the snowball's going to come out, but Moon is on his way with the sprint. He's got both the Blink Dagger and the Force Staff. Crit is still in trouble, though. Those Spiderlings are following him down. They will be able to stop him, though. They'll actually nuke and make sure the Crit survives. The Ice Blast is not going to be on point this time around.
So all Misery has to do is stay alive at this phase.
If he could just stay ahead of this Slardar, which, you know, they've given the gem over to him because he's got these double mobility items, and if he just gets the amplified damage onto Misery, could chase him down pretty easily. Highlight die.
They just need more farm on Eternal Envy right now, because if you've already got a Brood, you can't have 2 dead heroes, like heroes that don't really provide anything for you in these fights. You need the ability to actually battle up 4v5, but Eternal Envy just doesn't quite have the farm to be able to do that. So they're relying on these mini picks and hoping that Misery does enough economic damage at bottom lane.
He's got a nice little horde of Spiderlings ready to go to clean up the next wave as it spawns. So Monkey Business, even if they are chasing away the Broodmother, they're not going to be able to stop this push.
This game's really even right now. The Shadow Fiend still has a ton of net worth. Misery's the top net worth on Team Secret, but one of his items is a Midas.
Oh, they see this. Looks like they're going to go for Crit, and he actually does just barely land that Ice Blast, and Nightstalker gives him the walk away. They know Crit's done for.
Maybe the play there.
Top lane, Eternal Envy's going to go down. Another Blink initiation. Moon finds the stun, and Beastmaster has a Blink Dagger as well. So now Eternal Envy is just going to be constantly hunted by these 3 different heroes with near instant stun. There's a bit of animation on both Slardar and Beastmaster, but Tusk is pretty fast with that Walrus Punch. It's probably the least of the animations.
That's part of the issue when you're playing against a Slardar with a hero like Ember. The 15 armor reduction when you've only got 7 base to begin with, you get ripped apart really quickly. It just takes probably Slardar and 1 hero. They could probably do it with Crit if they need to. Just the Walrus Punch on top of that. But you've still got a lot of different ways into this game if you're Team Secret. It's not even like they're far behind. It's just that taking fights at this point isn't really feasible, because you got 2 heroes that can't really get into the thick of things. Whereas if you look at Monkey Business's lineup, they're behind in net worth, but they've got heroes that can get into the thick of things. You got a Slardar that's going to be pretty hard to take down, because they don't have any immediate burst damage heroes.
Yeah. And a Broodmother, like, their Ember Spirit is their best late game hero. A Broodmother is going to fall off eventually. Nightstalker definitely falls off when it comes to like his damage that he provides in team fights. Yes, the vision is amazing, but if your Ember Spirit just doesn't continue to put out as much as you need him to, then Monkey Business is just going to roll you over, even if you can't see them coming.
I think this is a decent fight for them to take. They've got the positioning. Misery's got the network of webs right now. Monkey Business, I don't think they really want to risk this, because all you're getting is a tier 1 at bottom. There's no real point in going for it. Eternal Envy almost has that Battle Fury, but it's still pretty late. It's 30 minutes into the game when he's going to grab it, and the amount of impact that you want to see this hero have isn't quite there.
Puppy's pretty farm, though. They'll have a really significant upgrade coming in quite soon. He's 3/4 of the way there to the Ags.
Yeah, Puppy right now he's definitely holding it together. He's only.
They're gonna find Misery, or I think they will.
Misery should.
They should
get
just
out.
follow the webs all the way through.
He's turned off the
If he
radiance.
gets the Force Staff, they not seeing him just yet.
With this Hawk, he's definitely gonna get spotted.
Now they see him. Misery, he's stuck in the trees. They're gonna snowball him, finally catch him out. It took a lot of time for Monkey Business to find him, but seeing as he's quite heavily the top net worth for Team Secret, it was worth the investment.
988 gold won, 509 loss. Yeah, I'd say that was worth it.
Yeah.
This just isn't a very defensive hero right now. If he gets caught by any ability, he pretty much dies. They're trying to set up at bottom with Pilot Die and Weehaw, but this is not really a fight you want to take. There's no reason. I think Weehaw is pretty close to that BKB, which I think is the item that he should grab. You don't want to slow down the momentum of this Night Stalker if you can help it in these team fights.
And for the first time pretty much all game, Monkey Business are in a good enough position that they can take down these outer towers that were still left in the bottom lane.
Oh, this is so smart by them. You're noticing that they're going to show 2 heroes at bottom. They should start backing out now. And Eternal Envy, he thinks that there's 5 heroes behind them, but at top.
That's exactly where they jump in. Eternal Envy is going to be perfectly chain stunned down. A beautiful plan from Monkey Business that exposes Eternal Envy once again.
That was so intelligent by them. They even showed No Tail. That was the perfect hero to show. Because then Eternal Envy thinks, even if it's a trap, like, what do they really have?
Right.
Slardar's probably at bottom.
Oh, and now they're going to get the pick off on bottom lane too. They get up the gem as well on top of everything else.
They're just getting outmaneuvered right now pretty hard. This is really intelligent play by Team Monkey Business. Like, to maneuver around the map like that is so smart. You show the 3 heroes off the map, show the 2 heroes that are most likely to be the ones to take down the Eternal Envy, and then they set up another trap at that bottom lane when Team Secret thought they had actually left. So Team Secret looks to the fight, but it's only the Night Stalker. Then he runs into 2, instantly dies. And now this is going to be a Roshan, a tier 1 tower, and they got both of the cores from Team Secret.
They're going to keep this pick-off potential rolling as they're going to find Puppey as well without that Ice Blast. They could probably push uphill in the next 50 seconds as Roshan's going to go down to Miracle quite easily.
That was Puppey's first death of the game too.
Yeah. So there it is, Aegis, they're going to push forward. If they actually find even more heroes, Moon is going to start running down Misery. Can't quite get off that amplified damage. And now Misery just puts himself in the trees. They get the stun. He breaks down those trees, but he's going to TP out. No tail. Oh no, they see him just at the last half second, but can't stop him in time.
He's going to TP bottom. They'll start the split push, and this is something they have to do. With the Aegis completed on to Miracle, it's going to be really hard for them to hold it. You've got to pop this Aegis, but he's just going to get urn charged up. Misery's just going to try to trade out. He doesn't have TP for another 20 seconds, so he's got to move quickly.
Oh, they actually jump forward. They're going to go for Wii. They pop double ultimates here just to make sure he dies. And with that AoE of the SF, there's no way Team Secret can actually push forward until the buyback. Now the Ice Blast forward, but the turnaround potential, they're going to go straight for Eternal Envy. Lock him down once again. Crit. He has just been cleaning up Eternal Envy time and time again. And they don't even lose the Aegis off of that. Down for 50 seconds, and Team Secret going to probably have to give up a full lane of Rags here. Crit's backing himself up, and Monkey Business are slow playing it, but he can't slow play it for too long because Misery will take that melee Rax if they're not careful. Jump forward, Slaughter's gonna try and catch him out, does get the amplified damage, misses the stun though, and Misery will kinda stay one step ahead unless he gets
the bash caught.
Oh, first hit bash for Moon! Now Misery, he has to get himself away with the webs, but he's been stunned up once again. Maybe he can turn and fight though. Moon's actually slowly but surely taken down, but the Chain Frost comes in. They also have extra support. The SF is coming in from the side. Misery's desperately trying to get away, but they have full vision of him, and there's just no chance for a Broodmother.
So godlike. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But Moon starts the backup. He sees the TP. I think Misery, if he just started running away, Moon would have given up on it. But he goes to the TP, wants to make the safe play. He played the odds. I think that was an okay play to make. He played the odds. It's a 25% chance. They're just really unlucky. 1 in 4 manages to catch him out. And Misery was one of the ways that they were going to keep in this game.
Yeah.
And with him dead, that is a really significant pickoff.
Especially since they're going to halt all momentum in that bottom lane and push it out. And probably that's going to be the next, I mean, if you have perfect control and you have just any choice, right, you push down the bottom lane because that's a lane that's exposed on your side.
Oh yeah, for sure. And more importantly is you want to make sure that Team Secret, they've got to start another slow push on the side of a map where you've already got a tier 2 tower. And with this, No Tail's just going to come in. Eternal Envy is going to be able to survive, but we just really haven't seen the impact of this Ember Spirit.
They've now got the Butterfly, and obviously still rocking the Aegis for the SF.
20K net worth, unbelievable. There's just nobody on Team Secret that can really fight into that. Weehaw at one point had 4K gold, but he had to buy back for that fight, and 2 pretty disastrous pickoffs resets him.
What a gigantic swing this has been over the last 8 minutes or so, where Monkey Business like really got rolling. They had all these smart maneuvers around the map, and it's about a 10,000 gold swing. Now they've got a Solar Crest of their own between the Butterfly and that Solar Crest. No MKBs, obviously, on the side of Team Secret. they could just put the SF on the front lines, especially if he has a double damage. So this is going to be the melee ranks going down. They're probably just going to go bottom immediately afterwards and force Team Secret.
Crit has a full hex. What a beast this guy is. I can't even. 5-1 and 9. Every time he plays Tusk, he goes insane, and this game is no different.
They're just slowly but surely trying to chip away at Miracle to try and burn that Aegis before the real fight occurs, and it looks like they're not quite gonna get it. He gets the heal off. The Ice Blast just didn't last long enough.
The Night Stalker is gonna go for the split push at top, but that top tier 2 tower is so healthy. I think this is one of the better opportunities that Monkey Business is gonna have. But
yeah, because there's no counter pressure, right? You can afford to really play it slow, and there's no like, oh, Broodmother's gonna take our tier 3 if we don't push in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, but No Tail's gonna TP top. I think they're afraid because the Aegis timer isn't as long as they want it to be, and they've got so much control in this game right now. Their item progressions are pretty sick. The fact that your support Tusk has a fully completed hex, that's gonna play a really big difference in these fights.
Another gem picked up for that Night Stalker, but I'm not sure how much of a difference it's going to make if you're trapped inside your base. I suppose you could see the Hawks that are going to set up on the side of the base and give some vision, but not going to offer a whole lot for yourself anyway. He sees the ward, but Moon, if he had kept running forward, he actually could have caught the Night Stalker with a blink.
All right, so 42, 43 minutes in. That's when Monkey Business is going to start to get aggressive again. They're going to look for these individual pickoffs, but there's no reason not to wait for the Roshan at this point. You let it happen. Chill if you can help it.
All right, we finally have something for Misery. I can see why he went for the Boots of Travel, but that just exposed him so much. Weehaw is going to be caught. Moon, he'll commit the BKB in order to get this kill. Having a little tough time with it, but they finally do take away that gem.
They had to commit the Chain Frost, but it's probably not a big deal, and Eternal Envy's just trying to buy time.
Yeah, he's just trying to get a little bit extra damage out from the Remnant on the right-hand side. Pylon Die is going to be taken out once again. Miracle picks up a kill.
There's no buyback on the Night Stalker.
And now they're going to jump on a Puppy without the Ice Blast. Team Secret, they don't have any buybacks. This is pretty much over.
I don't think they can really fight here. They're even going to spot Eternal Envy out. He's just going to have to get out. He doesn't have any Remnants left over, but oh, the damage on that!
Jesus, with the amplified damage, just No Tail. Like, his right clicks aren't that tremendous, but between him and the Necronomicon, he was just tearing Eternal Envy a new one.
That's the GG ult.
Celebratory ultimate from Miracle.
That's the get out of my game ultimate.
Yeah. Team Secret are not calling it just yet, but Monkey Business, they can very easily take these tier 4s, and there it is. And the series is all tied up now. Monkey Business, they had a rough start to game number 1 in this series, and even game 2 was looking a little risky for them, but they really started to take control of the game with several pickoffs in a row on Eternal Envy. They just took such a gigantic net worth advantage with those.
They're one of the best teams when it comes to controlling a lead, but that's what they didn't have in the last game, is they were never really able to get their footing right. But this game on, their superior map movement and the presence on the map, I mean, that bottom gank, and when they set it up for top, they show 2 heroes bottom, they go for 3 at top. I know it's not like the most exciting play, but as somebody who really likes watching high-level Dota, that just got me.
All right, so fantastic plays by Monkey Business. We're going to jump over now to our analysts as they're going to talk about this game 2 and who's going to be winning that game number 3 to move on in the playoffs.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're back on the panel, of course, with Merlini and Nahaz. So, what do you think, guys? Is this a bit of a deja vu from day number 1 in their matchup against EG? Did Monkey Business just need that game 1 warm-up to get back into action, or was it more closer to like what Blitz said, where Monkey Business is just that kind of a team that once you kind of give them an inch, they'll take a mile and they get that lead? What do you think, Ben?
We like the Broodmother pick, but I don't really like Weehaw on non-scaling heroes because Eternal Envy hasn't been performing up to par on the position 1. Ember Spirit's a very difficult hero, and we've seen some players do decently well with it, and some players play amazingly well with it, and his, unfortunately, is in neither of those categories.
What do you think, Nahaz?
I actually don't think Envy's Ember Spirit was that bad, but it is that bad in general, but he had just a brutal game. I mean, 9-4 on that hero. He had 9 of his team's 25 deaths. That can't happen. I know he's a better player than that. He knows he is a better player than that. Absolutely needs to bounce back in game 3. But really, to me, the story of that game is No Tail and Crit. No Tail somehow manages to break even against that Broodmother in lane, and Crit just had some hero plays on that Tusk.
It's good to see a team like Monkey Business, even after that game 1 crushing, they're still just as resilient as ever and able to bounce back. And we're already in for a nice treat, a full 3-game stretch. Wow. So we're going to go to a small break. When we return, we're going to get that game 3 hype coming for you. We'll see you soon.